Ah, hello. So this is Two Guys T and D, and we're back for some more brewing.
I think I hear a tea kettle, Harry.
I wish.
And I think that it's a tea kettle of brewing, some more of your homebrew world. So what are we working on today?
So I think to go along with those Sky Pirates, we want some Sky Dwarves.
Oh, yep. Gotta have dwarves.
We were discussing this, I think, when we ended the broadcast of our last thing. We were discussing it for like half an hour or something. And we kept on saying, no, we should wait, we should record this, but we just carried on anyway. So I think we have these like Magitek Dwarves, where their airships are powered on these crystals, or something, just powered more by magic rather than coal, like the new common airships are. So my initial thoughts were these things, these crystals or rocks or whatever, came from meteorites, and these dwarves like fly around the world searching for these to power their ships, power their armor, power their weapons, power their everything. Like their entire sort of culture is just based around these meteors.
Mm-hmm.
I think we also discussed something about the orcs stealing their tech.
Yeah, I think what we had talked about is that's where the orcs got their tech. Is they maybe came across one of these fallen ships, and that's how they're able to steal it. And then from that, it's just like history, as they say. They just though that orc tribe immediately was able to dominate the others, kind of bring them to heel, and and then they themselves have probably been looking for these crystals as well.
So I think my main inspiration came from there's some new Age of Sigmar stuff from Games Workshop that's coming out soonish. I'm not a super fan of the Age of Sigmar stuff, but the models they put out are certainly really nice looking, and they sort of have these like big, sort of really look like just that stereotypical dwarven look to these airships, like bulky, like certainly like all this like covered in runes.
Right.
So do you think we should?
I've always
go down that dwarven look, that original style.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So when we're thinking of these dwarves, I mean, maybe initially they were like what would be your typical mountain dwarves. They would delve deeply into the mountains, searching out these gems. And it was maybe just by happenstance that one of these dwarven miners or smiths came across this meteorite and found, of course, this crystalline structure within it. And when he took it out, they found that when they would cast magic into it, it would actually hold magic really well. And then that magic would then be able to be used to, like you said, power things, whether it be a weapon, armor, an airship. And the size of the crystal would denote how much it could power. Like obviously a smaller crystal would be like smaller things, like maybe a weapon or a set of armor or a piece of armor.
Yeah.
But then if you had larger clusters of these crystals, then you could even power something as large as, wow, what is my camera doing? What is my camera doing?
Mind of its own.
Hello. let me get a.
I noticed it just moving around, just like, oh, where should we look at that? At the one point, no, let's just go over here. Oh.
That was the weirdest thing ever. I'm just like sitting here chatting, and all of a sudden my camera just goes, hey, we're gonna go just jump in for a close-up. But where was I? Now I lost my track. Oh yeah, so so they find these larger ones would power these larger airships.
Yeah.
And not only that, but maybe power the cannon or whatever kind of armament might be on there.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Let me just share some of these images real quick.
Okay.
So this is like pretty much the look
Yeah,
that I just want to steal, frankly.
I love the tech bird, like a parrot or whatever it is on that guy's shoulder. That is
Yeah.
just the best.
But I just like the aesthetic. It's still definitely dwarven, but it has that Magitek like steampunk feel about it.
Yeah. Well, I love the models that Games Workshop puts out. I mean, it's just too bad they kind of price them out of a lot of people's budgets.
Yeah.
But man, if you have the time and the money to put into building an army in that system, it's really beautiful. Now, is that a model from Games Workshop?
Yeah, this one is.
Is that a scale model too?
Well, I mean, I think these dwarves here are the ones that are like here. So it looks pretty big.
Wow, that is beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
want to get that.
like this sort of
Yeah,
aesthetic going on here. Not big fan of this blob on the top, but because you don't really need it. Because if they're powered by magic, you don't need that sort of blob.
Right, it wouldn't, because ships would literally they'd look like ships that go on the ocean.
Yep.
The only difference would be is they'd be able to actually take flight.
Yeah.
There's this, I don't know if I mentioned this in our last video or not, but there's this comic that I used to watch. I used to read. What the heck was it called? I'm trying to remember what it was called because it's been a while. But anyways, in that comic, they had come across these elven pirates, and they actually had ships that they could fly because by using rune magic. You would cast rune magic you would carve runes into the ship, and then you would have a rune master there that would then empower the runes. And as long as they kept doing that, your ship could stay aflight. But the ship looks like a normal ship, and I love that. I love it when a ship looks normal or fairly normal or fitting the setting, but it can also fly too.
So let's think a little bit about the culture of these guys. So I think there definitely be nomads traveling around. Do you think they would be just peaceful traders or conquerors or?
Well, I would think that much like the orcs, these crystals aren't really numerous or abundant. So when you have them, you really covet them. So yeah, I'm seeing. I guess I would see them more as nomadic. They'd be like a tribe or a clan of dwarves. And what I would say is, maybe they're traders. They trade with other dwarven clans. They trade with other societies for the resources they need. And they're maybe they're, and I would see them as maybe actually really good at that. And they're rather approachable in all matters, except for when you start to ask questions about their airships or maybe their weapons.
Yeah.
That's when they get really quiet and tight-lipped, and even to the point of maybe threatening. Why do you ask what powers my ship? Kind of a thing, and they can turn from amicable to angry very quickly.
I just like the idea of these big sort of armadas, these fleets, this like floating city just traveling along.
Yeah.
Perhaps it would just be one giant floating city.
Oh, kind of like what's
is it Dalaran from WoW?
Yeah,
I think it's Dalaran.
Yeah,
something like that. Anyway, been a while since I played that game.
Well, I wasn't thinking maybe a floating city. What I was thinking,
Valorant,
yeah, what I was thinking is like they have this grand ship that floats.
I think the city would be ship shaped. I don't like the idea of just a blob.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, it's just, and it just drifts around, or just doesn't drift, but just travels around the world, seeking these crystals, but also trading as they do so.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they can't even. Maybe it's been so long that they, they maybe don't even necessarily connect themselves with their brethren of the mountain dwarf brethren. Maybe they see themselves as something other. Maybe they call themselves air dwarves now. Separating their tie to their roots.
Maybe they see themselves as better than their cousins.
Right. Yeah. Looking
like
down
on them. We're right. Above you, both literally and figuratively. I think that's having them like very arrogant would be quite interesting. They're very powerful, but without those crystals they're nothing. So
right. Right. And the other balancer I think for them too would be is that they're limited in number. They're
the number has to be limited by the amount of crystals they actually have to power those airships. They can't fit on hundreds of thousands of these dwarves
right
into one big ship. It just don't have enough crystals to power it. So I think I kind of just want to think about some guns, to be honest, right now. Yeah, like just perhaps you could just make some magic items. Like the just reskinning some magic items. There's that wand of magic missile thing.
Right.
Just like reskinning that as some just a rifle or something like that would just work perfectly for these guys. I think this is sort of like they're very sort of high fantasy place in this world. I mean, my world's a bit of a just a mash of everything.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it'd be, you could easily reskin almost with many items from the Dungeon Master's Guide, utilizing these crystals as like their power source. Whether it be whether these crystals could act as a focus for an arcane caster or a divine caster. But even for the more martial classes, when these things have been like enchanted into a weapon or a breastplate or something, it then gives it that benefit. And I think one of the
you could use them to power like a suit or something like that. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really, really cool. Guns, I mean, you could easily make guns. So they would be firing, like, would be effectively with what you mentioned as a reskin, they would effectively be firing like the first laser gun in your world with that magic missile.
Yeah.
They would have single fire or burst fire, but magic missile, like, I don't know how the wand works or how similar to the spell.
It has charges, I think.
Right, but I don't know if and do you use as many charges based on the darts you fire?
We'll just look. Let's have a look. So 7 charges for 1 charge is a first level, and you can increase the spell level by using an additional charge. So you can get like 1 burst of 7th level magic missile and have like however many bullets that is.
Yeah.
They're like definitely. Then you have to like recharge the crystal by pouring some more magic into it.
Right.
I just had a thought about the sort of, you said something about the divine.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps their religion sort of would revolve around these crystals. I have the idea of like a
Oh, yeah.
sort of meteor shower. Like we get them, every however many years it is. It could be this celestial clock of maybe every like 562 years or something. These meteors with the crystals come back and shower over the world, and that's like a
Right.
big religious event, and their whole
Yeah. Oh, you know something? Maybe it's not necessarily the shower itself, but maybe, much like Halley's Comet, maybe there's this large comet that streaks through the sky, and it's from the tail of this comet that these crystal shards fall from, and they fall to the earth, obviously, as meteorites.
Yeah.
But then they would make it like something they could, especially back then, something they would easily see in the sky and track and know, oh wait, now's the time. And I don't know what would you call it?
It's back to that naming we're all terrible at.
Yeah. Well, no, just because as you mentioned that, I'm like, oh, that's a really great idea. And that would then have them spending, and maybe 562 years is too much, but maybe it is like, half a century. Maybe it's every 50 years or 57 years this thing comes in. For that next 57 years, they're solely focused on scouring the world, looking for the shards that have fallen, so that they could then continue to power what they have, and then until the next coming of that great.
Yeah, I think it'll look a little bit longer because dwarves have that extended lifespan.
Oh yeah, it could be longer, definitely.
Otherwise, I think other cultures would probably take advantage of these crystals.
Right.
And I kind of want like a semi-monopoly, I think.
Oh yeah,
they have like a few, and then these guys would go to war with whoever's holding onto these crystals.
Yeah.
Take them.
Yeah, it's definitely they definitely have to have a monopoly on it for sure. So that, I think, begs the question. So is there a lifespan of these crystals? I think of like you had mentioned Star Trek earlier, before we started recording, and in theirs they powered their ships with dilithium crystals back in the original series. And those are very powerful crystals, but they would have a lifespan. They would kind of, like it can only be recharged so many times, like a rechargeable battery. It can only be recharged so many times before it just won't keep its charge like it did. So is there a lifespan on these crystals, or are they infinite? When you have one, you can count on it to be.
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps they do have a lifespan. I think maybe as this comet slowly gets further and further away, their sort of power ebbs and dissipates as the comet gets further and further away. And as it's coming back, everything starts to power up again. And then it showers more and then goes further away. So maybe they only have like a certain use. And then they have to sort of pile all of these crystals into one thing just to power their ships.
Your world is a mismatch, Harry. So I feel totally fine in suggesting this, but it's kind of like Avatar, Sojin's comet.
Yeah, that was my inspiration for that.
Remember how when that comet comes and it's in the sky at that certain time, the Fire Clan is so much more powerful. Now they're powerful before, but they're kind of on an equal playing field with the other elements. But when that comet is up there and it's lined just right, all of a sudden, boom, the stuff they can do with their fire.
Yeah, they're sort of unstoppable.
So I like that. So it still functions when it's not nearby.
Yeah, it's just not.
Maybe they have to pour, maybe that's when they realize, wait, we have to pour more of this magic, or maybe you have to rely a little bit more on the magic and the text. Maybe that's where the steam powered kind of mismatches into this. But when it draws near, and maybe that's how they figured it out. Oh, wait a second, as it gets more further away, these crystals aren't as powerful. And they're like, all right. But then it started coming back, and then they were like, oh, crap, wait a second. This is gaining more power. And that would just make it that much more. So I think what we also did too, Harry, without even realizing it. So not only do we create like this little culture of these air dwarves, which man, we need to get someone to watch this video and in the chat give us a great name for these air dwarves. But it's also, we also created a resource, much like that wood that we created in that forest.
Yeah.
That is pretty coveted. Like people would say, I really want this. Like nations would probably go to war for the right amount of this stuff.
Perhaps these guys have managed to figure out a way of detecting these over like a certain distance or something. So like once they get within like 50 miles or something, they're like, okay, there's one close.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like literally, maybe they have this device on their ship that is actually powered by one of these crystals, and it's like this pinger, ping, it pings out, and when it gets close enough to a crystal, it'll ping, and that's how they find them. But maybe but to make it so that it's not too meta, it's a slow process.
Yeah,
it's not an exact science. It's not like that. They don't have global positioning, so they can't go, oh, it's right here.
No, it's definitely going to be quite a close range thing.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that idea, actually.
And that's why these guys are so successful in finding them and monopolizing that resource.
Yeah. Right. And another thing too, you get that really so this culture is, because it's so dependent upon this. Like if someone from their clan should either give away a secret, that would have a pretty serious penalty.
Oh yeah.
Like to give away the secret of the crystal, or to actually, oh my gosh forbid, actually give a crystal away. That that'd be something like penalty of death or something like that. Excommunication from the clan.
Definitely.
Though, and on the flip of that is maybe the clan boss, or I don't know what he would be, like a jarl or a lord or a king. I mean, I guess it depends on how grandiose he is. But he's like the one person that maybe he has gifted a crystal to someone that has done something of great importance or for the clan.
Definitely.
That's really cool.
I think I imagine these dwarves as more of maybe an oligarchy or something like that. It's just like a family, like all the different like families each have their own powerful leader, which then rule they rule the sort of country, the I guess faction, I guess I'd call them. Rule them as a group, perhaps promoting one to be a leader for a certain amount of years, and then they step down, the next person steps up.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's that sort of power struggle within the actual.
Keep it in the family. Yeah. No, it'd be really cool too. Yeah. So there's this so they have this grand airship city that they all ride upon, and there's like, let me see. It's randomness. These 9 families are the 9 families are what make up this clan, and those are the ones that shift power. So now we have to come up with 9 names, but we're not going to do that today.
Nope.
But I'm wondering too is because they want to keep the purity of their families, maybe a nice little twist, Harry, and I'm just throwing this out there. You can definitely shoot it down. I won't be insulted at all. But maybe some of these families are starting to get a little bit crazy, because you know how when you start interbreed a little too much, things start happening. So not only that, but maybe they have these maybe there's a reason they have to use these crystals now, because maybe they're starting to get some physiological deformities or maledictions because of their wanting to keep this purity.
Yeah.
We got cousin Lenny over there. He's not quite right in the head.
Lenny's also Father Lenny, and
right. He's the head of the Crystalline Church, which is just really. But everyone knows he's crazy, but they know not to say anything, because next to the ruler, he's the second most powerful dwarf within the clan.
I was thinking either that, something I like the idea of that sort of something's wrong with these guys. Perhaps the crystals have some sort of radiation that's messing with their physiology.
Right. And oh, you know what'd be a nice little hook or a little story thing is someone within the clan has kind of finally puzzled it out.
Mm.
And maybe some of them already knew it, but there is like that dark secret that they don't want to let anybody know. Only the people in the very inner sanctum or the inner circle know about this. But one of the others finds out, and then it's like, well, what do we do with that information? Do I just keep quiet myself? Because these crystals are powerful. They give us our clan so much power, but what it's really doing is it's slowly killing us.
Mm.
You know, maybe like their birth rates are slowing as a result of this exposure. Maybe their lifespans are tweaked in some fashion. Oh yeah, that's actually the way you just kind of built off my initial suggestion. It's great. I love that idea.
Just thinking about some conspiracy theory nut jobs.
Right. It's that
and crystals in the water, man.
Plus, it also, as Drake would say, it gives characters that kind of come into contact that dilemma, right? And what if you're a dwarf from this clan, right? You're in that dilemma. Well, if we stick to what our current path, we're going to literally have all this power, but at some point we're gonna have power to extinction, right? Or do we give up this power, knowing that it's corrupting us, not in an evil sort of way, but just corrupting us, and walk away from it? And then we'll have to just scratch our living on the earth, in the mountains, in the mines, like all of our lesser cousins. You know, so I just think that that's so great because it's a classic man versus power.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what we're doing as a species now. We have this power, we have all this, electricity and wonderful things, but we're slowly kind of killing ourselves.
So sometimes quickly, depending on what it is. Right. I mean, it's and we all want to put our heads in the sand and pretend like it's not there. Maybe that's the same thing. Most of these dwarves are like, I'm just gonna put my head in the sand.
Yeah. Things are good now. That's fine. Doesn't matter about the future because I won't be there. I'll be dead by then. But when all the bad stuff happens, I'll be dead. What does it matter,
Right.
Yeah.
No, that is super groovy. I love that. That's a great thing. So
I think that about wraps up a quick burst of brewing. I am excited to think about these guys a little bit more. One of these days, maybe over the summer, I'm going to put together all of this stuff into one big document and just share it with the world.
Yeah,
for all to see, and I hope one day someone will run a game. Just if one person does it, I'll be the happiest man alive.
Just one, Harry?
Yeah, just one.
All right. Yeah. See, that's what I like.
See, I don't think big.
That's what the air dwarves said when they found that first crystal too, Harry. We'll just see what happens with you. But anyways, great. It was a great brewing session. I'm really digging these air dwarves. If you're watching the video, please by all means give us a like, sub to the channel if you're feeling it, and also, hey, if you got any names that you want to just throw our way, either for the clan is called and any of the 9 families, I think would be awesome.
Definitely. Maybe a name for these crystals as well. That's probably important.
We can't call them dilithium crystals.
No, we can't call them dilithium crystals. Trilith. No.
Yeah.
No one will get that reference. Right. Yeah, I think. We'll hopefully see you again next. I always say next week, but it's never next week. But we'll see. Whenever we get around to it, I think is probably the answer I should be giving. But yeah. Cheers for watching, guys.